colors, 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 colors.
And I also remember reading an article back when this was after Self-Destruction had come out and was NWA was starting to really pick up momentum. And I'll never forget it. I think it was in Spin, but it was like a lot of the rappers that I revered from New York. Basically, if you had removed that it was them talking, you would have thought it was like clan members. They were talking about gangster rappers like they were using words like savages, and like I was like, what is this?
Who was saying that? New York rappers?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the big dogs. So my thing is, why do you think that the East Coast rappers were so much wanting to distance themselves from what was going on?
Well, you have to deal with the waves of hip hop. So where you have the East Coast rappers who were a little bit different, and they were rapping about house parties and stuff. And then also you got to remember that the core of the East Coast rap, the Zulu Nation, were actual ex-gang members. So New York was moving away from it. You know, they were trying to move away from it. So they were maybe in a sense of denial. Like, hey, you know, we're not trying to do this. We're doing something different. But then slowly but surely, you know, KRS and them came with Criminal Minded. And like I said, it started to merge. You started to see the more intensity levels in New York hip hop start to show themselves. Like you're saying with somebody like Kool G Rap. And, you know, all the way up to people like Jay-Z now who, you know, rock is in the building. There's, you know, you know, dope boys in the building tonight. Everyone's singing about it. So you can call it what you want, but these are certain things. Now, certain people have never been gangster rappers. I mean, Will Smith never gangster rap. You got, you know, and it was funny. There was a situation recently where Drake made some gun references, and Common was like, "Stay out of that lane. Like, that's not what you do. Don't come over into this lane with these guys that do it."
Yeah, but even Drake's like, "Run up on me, you gonna see." He's quoting Too Short and rapping Forte.
Well, that because I think there's some intrigue. There's some intrigue with being a tough guy. There's some intrigue with being, you know, that guy. You take somebody like MC Hammer, millions and millions of records sold, making more of a dance type hip hop. And I know Hammer personally. Hammer ain't no punk, but at the same time, he wasn't a gangster rapper. But then out of nowhere, he starts doing videos with beanies on and stuff. So there's some pressure that comes to people to be gangster at some point. Now, don't ask me why. I've never had that pressure applied on me because I've always had that edge from the jump. But I've seen people go through it, and I don't know. You're not street enough. You know, you're not edgy enough. I don't know. My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life. That was what I set out to be unique. I wasn't just gonna document the streets. I'm gonna say, yeah, this looks very glamorous, but you can end up dead. Most of my characters I did in my stories would end up dead or shot or something.
Well, that's one of the things that I thought that was interesting as I was thinking about the different questions. Like even like Ed, you had on the OG about not driving drunk. So like you have all these different ways that you blended in the street.
Yeah, parables, little stories that'll, you know, I did one about The House, which was about child abuse. My gangster was always a survivalist, you know, a hustler and a player who enjoyed the streets and enjoyed that life, but was always tormented with the fate of what was going to happen to him. Fun in the beginning, but it's pain in the end. Because although I hadn't done the prison time, the horror was happening to me. Even during my career, all my friends were getting snatched up, doing life, dying. So I consciously couldn't push it, you know, like, you know, I would be a real sucker if I told you that you're gonna, like in Original Gangster, I said that invincible shit don't work. I'll throw you in the joint, you'll be coming out feet first. there is an extreme intrigue to this gangster lifestyle, and there is an extreme glamorous, the cars, the girls, but there's a very ugly B-side to it, which I had to tell, I had to express. Some rappers don't. That's their choice.
And why was that important to you?
Maybe because I have a conscience, and that became more and more evident as more of my friends got life sentences. So I think early in my first album, I might have been thinking like that, but now as I'm starting to merge away and getting a better life, more of my friends that are still on that old road are getting hit, blam, such and such, blams, under, damn, he's dead. And so my friends that were in prison was like, man, don't send nobody here, Ice. I mean, let them know, let them know. So like I always explain my life, I'm like, if you think of a road that I'm running down, I'm a hustler and I'm a gangster player and I'm rolling down this road, but then when I get to the end of the road, I see a cliff. And my career was me turn around on that cliff, that road, running back up it, yelling at everybody, don't go that way. It looks good, but don't go that way. And that's how I can sleep at night. You know, I can't really, I have a moral compass. I think everybody does. I have a moral compass, so I know when I'm playing with something that could get somebody hurt, you know, so I don't want to do that.
So that being said, pre 6 in the morning, those records like Body Rock, etc. But then when you get to 6 in the morning and Rhyme Pays,
It's different. Well, see, when early records, Killers, Body Rock, all those things, that was just me trying to be a rapper. So whatever I'm doing in the street, I'm denying that. I'm not going to talk about that because I didn't know you could talk about that. So if you're out here committing crimes, then you're going to try to rap. It's like, you know, I'm trying to rap about breakers. I'm trying to rap about rap shit because that was supposed to not ever been known. You know, I didn't come in, my early Ice-T stuff wasn't crime stuff. It was just basic raps. But then my friends were like, say that shit you be saying, you know. I read a quote about from Richard Branson, and he says, the best advice he ever got in his life was be yourself. And being yourself will be the best version of you ever. Well, I will say early I was not totally honest in being myself. I was like, I looked at what Sugar Hill Gang was and I said, I'm gonna be a rapper. So let's rap about parties, let's rap about breaking. And then my boys was like, nigga, rap about that shit you rap about. Cause I was already making like crime rhymes for the gangs and crime rhymes and, you know, for the homies, but who would think anyone would buy that shit? You know, it was, so then they told me, and that's when I wrote 6 in the Morning, which was a B-side about me running from the cops. And those songs, what I call faction, they're factual situations put into a fictional story. So all the different things, Shani Sean did have a blazer with a Louis interior. You know, we did get busted with a hand grenade. You know, all these different things happen at different times, but I made it all happen at 6 in the morning. And, you know, I go to jail for 7 years. No, I couldn't possibly have actually gone to jail 7 years. So there's a lot of fiction and faction put in. Back in the days when you make a B-side, it was like you made a serious record, and then you just say, let's just fuck around. So the B-side was 6 in the Morning, and that record hit. And it was fascinating to me. People like that. And then I played at the Fillmore and sold out a show, and then everybody was like, that's what it is. And this is like 6 in the Morning was my version of kind of working off Schoolie D's PSK. But I was like, yo, people want to hear this gangster shit. They want to hear it. And then that's when my music started to change. I started to go in that direction. And it was funny for me because I'm like, oh, that's what they want? Well, I got tons of this shit. So I would have been difficult for me to make dance records or try to deny who I was, but I just didn't know that that lifestyle could actually become a genre of music. And just writing stories about it and writing in that mental state would hit.
Well, when we were at Jimmy Fallon, you were telling me that story about when you first heard PSK in Santa Monica.
Yep. Well, when I heard PSK, I was hustling, and we were at a club in Santa Monica. It was downstairs, and the record came on. It was the B, like, and at that time everybody was yelling on records, you know. And then all of a sudden, Schoolie said, "PSK, we making that green." People always say, "What the hell does that mean?" Peace for the people. The cadence was so different and stuff. So I was like, yo. So I went the next day. I went after the record. I was like, I figured this. What the fuck was that record? I think I went to the DJ booth. They said it's PSK, Schoolie D. What's Schoolie D? So we got, we go to the record store. We end up getting the record. Then I found out he had Gucci Time. He had all kinds of good records. But they said PSK. That's Parkside Killers. So I'm like, oh, so this is like a little anthem for a gang, huh? Okay, cool. So when I made 6 in the Mornin, I was kind of like using a beat from Hold It Now, Hit It, the Beastie Boys. That boom, 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 hold it now, dun, hit it, dun. And also the break, like I go hit, when I go, didn't know it wanted, didn't have time to ask, dun, dun, dun. It's like a how do you say it? Like the break was unorthodox. That's how their break was. Hold it now, hit it, Leroy. Hey, well, I chill, bro. So it was like 6 in the Mornin was like, then was bam, bam, bam. It just stopped the record. Then the record took back off. So, you know, when you do records like these, you're being influenced by other records. But if you do it well, no one will ever know unless you tell them. You're like, that record made me do this. That record made me make this. So it was like PSK and little Beastie Boys. And I just started telling this story, and I just made it more graphic. You know, the hardest part in PSK was says, put my pistol up against his head, says, suck ass nigga, I should shoot you dead. That was like as rough as that record got. My shit starts right off running from the police and beating girls and just wilding. So it was play by play in LA Day. And Cube later told me, he said, well, Boys in the Hood was really 6 in the Mornin Part 2. And it just started a whole trend. It just made me know it was okay to write songs like that. Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.